Spatchcock Nation, welcome to episode 2 of our limited series Hot Joints. My boy Pearl keeps trying to jump into the party, but the party today is with one of the most important people to us and to the restaurant and food community in Central New York. This is our friend David Hoyne, the publican, owner, operator of Kitty Hoynes. So Kitty Hoynes, by the way, full disclosure, is a place that I regularly spend time at. I feel like I'm paying for part of David Hoyne's 401k. And what it is, though, is this restaurant does so much for the community in a number of ways, not just through fundraisers like St. Baldrick's Day, not just through engaging with other restaurants during restaurant week or taking care of the theater, but a true pillar of the community. And that's because of a primary thing in whether it's the way that David was raised or the type of person he is, but he personally embodies a brand, and that's important to us. So we wanted to get into this. And also, too, he's a pretty great storyteller. So it's an honor for us to have him in our community and to have him on the show. So, David, how are you, my friend?
Great, Matt. How are you? Thanks
Not
for that
bad.
great introduction. I'll pay you later on for that one.
Well, the thing is, when we think about this, like as many people know, my regular Friday hangout, you can find me at pretty much every Friday at 4:00 outside of COVID at one of the corner spots in the bar, Kitty Hoynes. It's a place that becomes kind of a hallmark destination or a meeting point for people in the community because of what you've created. So I think a lot of people, I've had the pleasure of hearing the story before about how you came here from Ireland, what the name means, and the story behind the restaurant. So can you share that with us?
Absolutely, love to. Yeah, yeah. Back in Ireland, obviously, I moved over here in 1985. So our business back home in Thomastown, Kilkenny, small town, 1,500 people. We had a bar, grocery, hardware, and undertaking business. So pretty much lock, stock, and barrel, from the first time you were born to the last time into the ground. William Hoyne and Sons pretty much took care of everything. We fed you, we kept you warm, everything. And it was a small town business, it was a fantastic place to learn about hospitality, learn about customer service. I'm the youngest of 5 boys. We all worked in the business back home. Around the lunch table, it was all about business and different things. And, but what I learned back there, stands to me today. And I think that's, and also what my parents and obviously Cindy and I with Cindy's parents also, that's how we were raised to be part of a community and everything. So unfortunately, that business kind of slowed up during the Irish economy. It wasn't doing very well back in the 80s. My brothers had gone on to open their own businesses. My dad was still working at the hardware store, grocery, and a bar. And I decided to come to America with a friend of mine and said, hey, let's leave September and we'll stay till Christmas and figure it out after that. So here we are here since 1985. And actually, when I got married to Cindy, we returned to Ireland. In 91, I started a business, lasted about a year at that because I felt like I needed to return to America. Everyone says, oh, Cindy wanted to go back. No, it was me. So, and then we obviously in 1999 moved up to Syracuse. We had our daughter Kira at the time. In order to open a restaurant, you need a lot of family help. So this was the place to come to. And the name, obviously, Kitty Hoynes, it's named after my mother, Catherine, who was nicknamed Kitty, and she was a great lady herself. And every day, I always think of her, think of my dad and everything else. And Cindy, the same for her parents. And that's how it is. It's a family business, family run, family morals, and everything else.
Well, I never had the pleasure of meeting your mom or your dad or Cindy's parents, but if they're anything like their sons and daughters, they're probably pretty special people. And that story,
very much so, yeah.
That story about what the business was, the family business back in Ireland. A mutual friend of ours, Mike Eef, and I would talk about that, how you'd walk in, there might be a body being laid out and you're getting ready to have a drink, or someone's coming in for some formula. That has kind of led itself to the decorations and the atmosphere in there that you've set up. So it's it's really awesome because the culture of your restaurant is awesome. So to that end, David, to us, and you know this better than we do, restaurants, particularly a great restaurant, like a hub restaurant like yours, a foundational restaurant, is an important contributor to the culture of the community it's a part of. So how do you think that Kitty's kind of lives up to that, being a part of the culture here?
Yeah, restaurants themselves, restaurants and at bars, I suppose, it's not home and it's not work. So it's that kind of third place that you want to get to, where you can kind of let your guard down, relax a little bit, discuss anything. Obviously, we don't like to get into politics and our religion. We are publicans, and it's a great atmosphere, Kitty Hoynes, because you feel warm, feel a certain amount of warmth the minute that you walk in the door. And it kind of sets people, okay, this is different here, And then everybody, we like to say that we like to live hospitality, not just within these four walls, but outside. When you're walking down the street, you might pass somebody by. You want to say good morning, good evening, whatever to them. That might be the only pleasantry that they get during the day. So it's that kind of atmosphere that we want to set up so that people feel comfortable. They see what our culture is all about. Obviously restaurants provide jobs to different people. We are like urban manufacturers, I guess. So it's look at the city of Syracuse with the amount of new restaurants they have. Mixed use developments. It has really raised the actual city of Syracuse most recently with all of these new restaurants coming in and everything else. So, we have guests that come from outlying areas, so you have to be a community person. You have to have a culture. You want to be that place that people want to come to, and our people from out of town want to visit as well,
I do. A lot of my friends that I might meet from out of town or out of the city, rather, like somewhere in the county, will come. We'll meet at Kitty Hoynes first before we do something else. And you mentioned about the pleasantries, right? One of my favorite things to do when I'm walking downtown or driving through it is to go by that corner, right? And if there's someone sitting outside, I might know, I like to honk or wave at them, or I see you outside, because one of the things that makes you just someone that I look up to very much is you own this restaurant, it's successful and it's a lot of fun to be at, but you're always bussing tables. I see you carrying a broom. Like, you're not one of these people that just sits in an ivory tower, and that means a lot. But you were wrong about one thing. You said, I love that your point about, like, it's a place that's not work and it's not home. But I've got to tell you, I've had a lot of business meetings at Kitty Hoynes, and someone taught me something when I was a younger man about business meetings and meeting at a neutral site, right? And whether you're negotiating a deal, particularly, they said, people want to meet a neutral site so they don't necessarily have an advantage. Well, that person gave me advice, and they said, if there's a place that you're comfortable at that makes you feel like you're at home, have meetings there. So regularly I'll say, you want to talk about a contract? Yeah, come on, we'll go to Kitty Hoynes. I'll meet you there. I know other people do the same thing. So one of my friends, actually, the people upstairs from you, Jimmy Cap and Matt Gardner, like to refer to Kitty Hoynes as their conference room. So
yes, I do.
that makes me so happy.
Well, I think that's why that you actually get to relax. You get to be yourself. It's like almost going for a run or walk. That other side of your brain kind of kicks in, and oh, right there, I just solved the problem. So yes, very beneficial.
Yeah, it's just a place that feels like home, especially for a lot of people. You need kind of that escape, whether you're working parents and it's good to go have a drink there. It's always just great to be around the people there, because I feel like it attracts good people. So let's say you weren't a good person, although you are. Let's say you weren't, and you were on death row. What would your last meal be, David?
Well, I'd probably have to start off maybe with a glazed and confused donut, maybe, a nice, lovely poured pint of Guinness, and a little whiskey on the side, Redbreast 12-year-old for sure. If I'm heading out in the next couple of minutes, that's what I want to remember the last taste. And I love lamb. Obviously, growing up in Ireland, lamb was one of the meats that was always available, plenty. And we don't normally cook it at home because Cindy doesn't really care for lamb. The kids are getting there eventually. So is Cindy too. But rack of lamb for me, lovely floury spuds and some turnips, which you don't normally get over here either. And a little mint jelly or fresh mint on the side. That would be mine, and topped off with a creme brulee. Those are some of my follow it up too with another booze, a nice Irish coffee.
Yeah,
and then I would say goodbye.
That is an awesome order. I think about 2 times I've been in your restaurant. Afterwards, they come by and give you the Irish cream, and that's a great way to finish things, especially if you're going out. The red breast, great start. The turnips, man, turnips are trendy. They're coming back into the food scene. You know what I mean? And that used to be peasant food back in the day.
Right, rutabagas over here, right? That's what you call them, turnips. Yes. Yeah, we used to. My mom back home, she used to grow everything. I mean, she was a fantastic gardener. Flowers, roses. She had a beautiful rose garden also, but she would grow anything: turnips, rhubarb, strawberries, raspberries, even in Ireland. And she was a fantastic cook, and that is the one kind of vegetable that I can't seem to get just that right kind of texture and everything else over here. So, that would be a good send off, Matt.
You're always pursuing that. I grew up I learned to cook from my mom, who's a great cook. And there's some things, as you get older, there's some things that, I'll admit this to her and I'll tease her about it, that I think I can do better than her now. But there's always a dish or two, like you're mentioning.
You can't say that
with your mom. There's a couple that you're like, how can I not do this? How you know what I mean? And that's funny.
It's funny too. People come in to Kitty Hoynes and they say, can I have a shepherd's pie? My mom makes the best. Well, how is yours? I said, forget it. We don't make it better than your mom. How can we go against you? So it's funny. Yeah. Stuff like that.
Yeah. A lot of the stuff that you guys make is just super outstanding. You take a lot of traditional Irish stuff, but you have a really good flair. You've had Food Network in there and they don't show up to places unless they're good at what they do. But I think about your shepherd's pie a lot, and also like the Irish breakfast is one of my favorite things ever to order. And a lot of places wouldn't do that, or they'd kind of fake it. Not you. You got the blood sausage, you're doing the whole thing. And it just, there's something special about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, our chef Damien, he's been with us 6 months after we opened. So we're going on 21 years. So he is just so inventive himself. We did actually take a tour to Ireland, so he got to see firsthand also what was going on over there. We get a bad rap, I think, for our food and everything else. Not Kitty Hoynes, but Ireland in general, Irish pubs especially. But there is a renaissance over there. Fantastic chefs that most of them have kind of gone to Europe and learned their actual trade. And we are a small island. People kind of forget that. So anything from seafood to vegetables to meats, everything else. It is pretty much local anyhow. So, but Damien, his meatloaf, he includes white pudding in there and uses lamb and beef and different things. He's just so talented, smokes his own meats, makes all his own dressings pretty much. So he is a fantastic talent for us. We have been very lucky.
Super inventive. The pork belly with the clam broth, that was awesome. But to have a chef that long, chefs typically rotate pretty frequently. So that just speaks kind of to the type of people that you are, that you have.
As I said, it's a family. It's a family place. It's not the chef. It is Damien Brownlow and his family. That's who we have here. We all want to know who is in your family, how are you doing, what's going on, etc. So that is the beauty about Kitty Hoynes working here for sure.
Yeah, I love. I remember at one point, Donna, Chris, a bunch of people. Every time you walk in there, they ask how you're doing, and they actually want to know the answer to that. And that always makes me feel good. It also makes you feel good when they already know what I'm going to order when I get in there. It's everything's poured in the correct glasses. But that community thing you're talking about, right? So Syracuse is a strong community. Prior to COVID, our local economy, businesses were on the rise. We're the only city in New York State to grow in population by like 0.1%, but was still growing. And then COVID hit, but the community seemed to band it together. So what's something that you saw in the local community during COVID that made you proud to be a part of this community?
Just the fact that people wanted to tackle it and turn something bad into something good. Celebrate those frontline workers that were out there. Restaurants in particular, I think, got a bad rap, but I think safety first was always what restaurants wanted to do, invested money in air filtration, keeping their staff safe first, and then in turn, keeping your customers safe. But I think people, behind the scenes, restaurants really went out of their way to make sure that it was a safe environment. I do belong to a text group of restaurants 20 plus and a second one. And we kind of got together, supported one another, because the mental part of this, we will actually never know how COVID will affect everybody. But mentally, when you have a group like that, everyone supports one another. You always have a bad day, but somebody was always there to pick you up and get you back here. We will get to the end of it. And, restaurants normally, you would actually think that they are in serious competition. Yes, but everybody has something different to offer. That is the beauty about Armory Square, downtown Syracuse. Everyone is different down here. You want to see more and more restaurants that are different, that are well operated, because then that actually rises everybody. Yellow orange restaurants, no, I mean, the yellow restaurants right now are actually putting on a fundraiser for orange zone restaurants. But COVID taught us a lot, I think, too. That your bucket list was, let's maybe go to the Jersey Shore, let's go to Thailand, let's go to Italy. I think all of your bucket list stuff got brought home closer to you. That it was your family, it was your friends, it was about downtown Syracuse. Fight for our industry, fight for the city here. We can lose a lot from this, but we can also gain quite an awful lot. And I think we will be better because of it.
I think we already are in some ways. I mean, we won't know to your point, the tremendous amount of damage it's done mentally and economically, but together we're getting stronger. That text group you talked about, and you also talked about basically you were saying that a rising tide raises all ships. I think a big part of the reason why that text group works, and I know that the great relationship you have with other restaurant owners is partly because of the example that you've set, right? During COVID, I've gone in to get takeout, and there's different separators, and everything's super clean. You have the air purifiers you just got from Healthway. You've set an example for others that I think means a lot to them. And I also think about too, the way that you do that and carry yourself with others is important. And you said, that there are other restaurants in town. So I'm someone, if you look at me, I obviously like to eat and I like to cook, but I like to eat out quite a bit. And while I'm a regular drinker at your place and eater, I will eat out at multiple places because you want to try different places there. But some people, not in this community, other people in this community love the other restaurants around, but you've been to other places and they will talk negatively and talk trash about other restaurants. And I love that they don't hear. And I think that you've kind of contributed quite a bit to that, because you've seen some negative things in the community, and yet you're still looking at it positively. And that's an important thing for all of us, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Syracuse is a great place to live, raise a family. And it's fantastic to see younger people, number one, actually move away, but then to actually come back, because then you really appreciate what it is all about. Yes, wintertime is winter, but we even look at our St. Baldrick's fundraiser. We are normally up there, top 5 against cities, against New York City, Chicago, Las Vegas. This is Syracuse, a smaller city, right? but it is a huge community that actually puts us up there, number one sometimes. I mean, people, billboards should be posting that out there. Syracuse is the number one community. And, that is the actual people themselves. And it's, hey, we all kind of want to raise it up. Sometimes people from Syracuse, are the worst ones, kind of, talk badly about it, but it's not that bad. Take it from a blow in here. It's a great place,
Yes, I agree so much. And, I'm one of those people. When I was younger, I moved to New York City, lived there for a few years and came back. And I love New York. It's one of my favorite cities in the world. But I came back and I love Syracuse even more because of that. But some people that have lived here their entire lives talk negatively about it. It's like, well then leave. And then they'll probably come back anyways. But yeah. So speaking of people like that, because those people irritate me pretty badly. You've had irritating experiences, I think, in your restaurant. So let's hear a crazy customer story. And I've probably been a part of some crazy customer stories in your restaurant, but let's hear a good one that we can be like, oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Good ones, I suppose. I've had numerous customers that have just done incredible things for us. Whether it's at the start of COVID, sending envelopes in with checks in them and saying, hey, hang on to this, just words of encouragement. People dropping off a receiver that kind of blew up last week and somebody, hey, this was in my garage. Here you go. It's like, how can you thank them enough? I don't want anything for it. They say, just here you go. I have a guy every holiday time brings in a bottle of Jameson 12-year-old, which is no longer available. Don't ask me where he finds this, but he's done it 2 years in a row. And it's just something like that kind of makes you feel, this is a payment, I guess, for a body of work for the last year. But a crazy one, parade day one year, we had a gentleman come in, was looking for a corned beef sandwich. And, we had it was kind of deli style, right? Corned beef. And the server, the guest insisted that he wanted brisket. So we had brisket available, whatever else, So brought out the brisket, wanted it a certain way. We thought that we actually heard him. So we brought it out first time, we brought it out a second time, brought it out a third time. There wasn't enough meat in it. So I personally delivered it this time. And obviously parade day is a kind of a crazy day that there's a lot of people, there's a lot of, different organization and kind of shepherding that kind of needs to be done. So it was late, kind of things probably got to me. So eventually the guest said, this isn't the same sandwich that I got down in New York City and whatever else. And eventually we both of us kind of walked out the back door together and got outside and we said, listen, we can't do anything more for you. There was a lot of other stuff in between that I can't repeat here. But since then, though, we actually made up, and he actually comes in every now and then, and we both apologize, heat of the moment type of thing. But those are kind of just some odd stories that, happen in the business, but we will always stand up for our staff and make sure that the guest is taken care of also. But
yeah, you always are take very good care of the people there. And as a guest regularly there, you brought in things out for people that weren't ordered just to be thoughtful. And the reason why people drop stuff off, though, for you guys, or those great heartwarming stories, is because you should feel valued and respected. I mean, it's a community, but you're a big part of that, that they're not doing that other places. So that just made me feel really good. And when you started the parade day story, I was like, oh, I spent a lot of parade days. Every parade day I spend in your restaurant at some point. So I was like, I wonder where he's going with this.
Yep.
I'm glad that worked out.
No, you're safe. You're safe. But that's it too. We are very lucky. Well, at least I am, that Parade Day, St. Patrick's Day, they are two different clienteles that we get. You know, Parade is downtown and it's kind of younger and different things now. But you know, just coming from Ireland and how America has embraced Ireland, you know, from a number of different factors. I mean, I am so proud to be a Irishman and a American citizen also. But it's and I love sharing that, and that's my first kind of, you know, base here. You know, I just want people to enjoy what Ireland has to offer, whether it's through their beverages, foods, you know, hospitality, music, especially as well. Like that's a real Irish pub for us when the music is going at nighttime.
Yeah, and the music's great there, as are the beverages and the food, and you capture that. You know, it's funny. Parade Day is a big day for my wife and I. We're both Americans with Irish heritage. We throw a big party here. We have bagpipers in the morning, and we go on the parade, and then we go to Kitty's, and then we jump around. But to be a part of that culture, I mean, to the downtown part of the culture, and you're kind of the conduit to Tip Hill, actually, the way a lot of people see it. Like whenever I've been on Tip Hill, our next stop is we go to Kitty Hoynes, or it's the jump off to go there. So it kind of brings that the connection to the Irish and American culture. And it's funny because I read something that there are more, and I mean, I'm English, Irish with some German, but there are more people with Irish heritage in the United States than there are in the country of Ireland.
That's right. Oh yeah, big time.
It's a crazy thing to think about.
Sure is. Sure is. Yeah, we have been very lucky. I mean, Ireland depends on America quite a lot, whether it's economically, politically, everything else. You know, with our whole peace process in Northern Ireland, we were lucky to have Jim Walsh that was part of that process here from Syracuse. And you know, we always depend on America for our economy, tourism, especially. You know, so it's a big thing actually. Yeah, and Tip Hill that you mentioned there. I mean, that's a great collection of pubs and different stops up there, from Coleman's and Nibsy's, O'Day's, you know, you name it, Now and Later, you know, I mean, just great places up there, Blarney Stone as well. But when I actually came to America, I got a job at the Dubliner restaurant, which is owned by Peter Coleman's brother, Danny, down in DC. That is actually how I met Cindy. But I certainly learned an awful lot down there, and I can't thank Danny Coleman enough. Peter actually thought that I was coming up to work at Coleman's back in the day, but what Peter has done for that neighborhood, whether it's the housing component of it, all of the different art installments, you know, statues and the stone throwers monument, different things. I mean, it's been incredible what he's done up there. Kind of saved the neighborhood, as it were. So it's again part of Irish heritage for sure in Syracuse.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. Peter Coleman's become. I mean, he's the patron saint of Tip Hill to me for all those reasons. And like you, I mean, I don't spend a lot of time at Coleman's now, but when I was young, and not that I wouldn't, I just haven't. But when I was younger, you'd see him there also sweeping and bussing tables. And you touched on the special relationship between, I mean, that's typically what we refer to as a relationship between Great Britain and the United States, but that special relationship between Ireland and the United States, a special relationship between you and the restaurants around here, and also a special relationship between you and Cindy. So here's a question for you. You and Cindy are going to have dinner in Syracuse, and you cannot pick Kitty Hoynes, but pick an appetizer from a local place, a main course from a local place, and a dessert for a local place that will make your special lady feel special for a nice dinner date.
That's a tough one, Matt. You know, there are so many fantastic places and more coming, as it were. You know, that is a tough one. We love going out to Pisa. Paulie is the best. You know, it's great. He's a great human for sure. But love going up there during the summertime, especially for their corn and tomato salad and or their antipasto salad. Pizza obviously is unreal up there as well. So then, you know, our neighbors here, Pastabilities, we love pasta ourselves. And my own personal favorite there is the pesto pesto linguine with scallops. So, and then Amano too. I mean, their pasta is incredible as well. You know, really fresh and everything else. Very unique. You know, different. Um, you know, good old bonsai beef sandwich too at the Blue Tusk. You know, it's. I mean, we are actually spoiled around here. You know, it's. And then, you know, dessert, maybe top it off at lemongrass. You know. You know, that would be a nice little tour with a couple of beverages thrown in here and there as well. A couple of other stops.
And all those places you mentioned have some great beverages too, and unique ones too, which is pretty fun.
Yes, for sure. As I said, we are spoiled, and it's probably a kind of secret, I suppose. You know, Syracuse restaurants. You know, even the older restaurants that are around, you know, whether you want to go to, you know, a steak at Scotch and Sirloin or Prime or, you know, Angotti's or anywhere, you know, I mean, these are fantastic places to go. You know, we are very lucky.
They are. Scotch and Sirloin is an awesome date place with a fire going. Oh yeah, it's super romantic.
Yep.
My wife and I, one of our first dates was there. So your wife, you and Cindy, let's say, I mean, you guys have done business together and lived together in Ireland, and you mentioned DC. So besides DC or Syracuse or Ireland, where's a dream location where you and her could set up shop, have another restaurant? Where might that be besides here?
Yeah, but that's you know, you ask anyone else that actual question, they would say, maybe somebody might say Ireland. So you've hit me on a couple of spots. This is home, and then my other home, Ireland. So this is a tough one. I don't know, you know, somewhere warm, somewhere where the ocean is right there. Myself and Cindy love just, you know, hanging out by the ocean, whether it's just, you know, sitting on the beach, reading, whatever else. So it would be somewhere warm, somewhere with a good food scene, obviously. So maybe we'll say Italy. I love Italy, maybe Tuscany area. Granted, it's not by the beach, but we can drive to that. But, you know, again, it's about the beverages. It's about, you know, things grown locally and having just, food is great, obviously. Obviously, I love it.
It's a big part of life. That's a great answer.
So I'm going to say Italy.
I was going to guess that you were going to say that because I know how much you respect a lot of the Italian restaurants and something that you enjoy to eat. So here's a question about eating too, because one of my favorite things to eat in Syracuse besides oysters are the cannonballs, your Reuben fritters. And one time I was at the bar with my partner in the show and some of our friends, and we got an order of like 3, and then we got another order, and as we were talking, there were like 4 left, and I was like, well, I might as well eat these, and I ended up having like 5, which that's pretty intense. So how many Reuben fritters have you seen someone eat in one sitting?
You know what? I don't know whether I've seen them, but I've heard that somebody ate 3 orders. I don't know how they did that. So that's 12. Now, as you know, these are very filling. I mean, very Moorish. I mean, just a great item. But but I think it took him a couple of hours, and I don't know whether it was a bet or what was going on. But yeah, he got 12 of them down there, and even dozens. So
wow, that's crazy to me because that besides it tastes awesome, the dipping sauce is awesome. It's a perfect appetizer if there's 2 or 3 of you there and you've had some drinks and you want to keep drinking, but you should eat something. It doesn't make you feel too full splitting an order. But I mean, they're dense objects. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. So, I would say maybe 1.5, 2 is kind of maybe people's limit.
Okay, that like the official serving size would be 1.5 to 2.
2, exactly.
I love when we think about serving sizes because to me, like I don't want to split the calamari you guys have. I want to eat that myself, which I shouldn't. Or it's like Girl Scout cookies. Like to me, the serving size of Girl Scout cookies is a box.
Yep. Don't ever buy me Reese's peanut butter cups either because I'm not sharing.
So you mentioned music earlier, and one of my favorite things about Kitty Hoynes, like actually for me, I don't know, I probably shouldn't. This probably makes me look bad, but one of my favorite things to do is to get there in the late afternoon around 4 o'clock, before the happy hour thing starts, have some drinks with a close friend. Other people show up. We get some dinner. And then the music comes in as it's getting dark out. And the vibe is still kind of the same. It's very chill and comforting and welcoming, but like the excitement level kind of ratchets up, right? Then you hear the guys tuning their fiddle, or someone coming in and playing the guitar a little bit. And we always try to go up and talk to one of the people in the band and say, oh, will you play this song? So that's a big part of the culture there. What, and I don't want to really knock anybody else out of your consideration set, but tell us one of your favorite songs or bands that you loved, that not just as the crowds they bring in, but you personally like to listen to and see in your restaurant.
Yeah, that's a tough one too, Matt. After 20 years, we've had a great amount of bands through here, even Irish national recording artists, whatever. But just a number of highlights. We used to have Hadrian's Wall here. They used to come down from Canada. They were a four-piece band, the original kind of Celtic rock type of band here at Kitty Hoynes, and it was fiddle, small drum set, guitar, and sometimes a second fiddle and or a bass player. But this place, excuse me, used to rock. I mean, just the floor would be bouncing up and down. They were absolutely incredible. Syracuse, another band, family band. We actually gave them their first tryout here in the States, and they are still so thankful for that. The Syracuse girls, great fiddlers, and just powerful. Old friends, a band from Binghamton, have been with us. They have since broken up, or well, one of them left town. So they actually played here for something like, I don't know, 200 shows. Really, got the place going. They could satisfy a young crowd as just as much as the older crowd, and kind of got everybody excited and everything else. Tommy Connors locally here, he is the rock here. He books all our music, plays solo, plays with groups. Tommy's unbelievable. Any song that you want, he will play it. But he also entertains, and that is the biggest component about our actual music. You want it to be entertaining. When we started off, first we only had Irish music, but eventually it was hard to get good quality music. So we've kind of mixed it up since then, and I think people really like that. The one kind of highlight, I suppose, for us, there's a Irish accordion player called Sharon Shannon. She has a band also, but she was touring. We have done some dining room concerts, like a max of 60 people in there seated in a kind of dinner concert style. But Sharon Shannon band stopped here, I think it's 3 years ago now, and she is famous for Galway Girl song. So that was a highlight, just to have her perform that song here at Kitty Hoynes. It was pretty special. But all of the bands, as I said, that's when we are truly a Irish pub with our music. And then after the Irish festivals during the summertime, most of the traditional bands come down and kind of have a session back in our dining room, and just the pure raw talent there of maybe 20 of them getting together, playing their instruments and singing and having a good time, and pretty special. Been very lucky.
It is very special. You mentioned it earlier too about young people and older people there, and that's one of my favorite things about seeing music at Kitty Hoynes. You'll see two girls in their mid-20s, and they're dancing and jumping and having so much fun, and then you'll see an older couple in their 70s at the bar, and they've raised their glasses and they're really enjoying it. It's a special experience, and it's genuine. It feels authentic, and I think that's a great thing.
It is, certainly, and like even to boil it down to a smaller age gap, like we won't see the freshman Syracuse University students very much. They might not even find us until senior year, and then that's when they bring their parents in, or that's when they kind of hang out themselves, that they finally finally discovered that this is not just a typical Irish pub. This is something different. I can relax. I can still have fun, even though, I am younger and everything else. But I mean, families love coming here to celebrate, whether it's people meeting here, getting married, having their first child. I mean, just different things. I mean, all of the celebrations which we love to celebrate with them as well. I mean that is a huge part of Kitty Hoynes.
I mean, it is. There's so many special moments that I've seen there. I've seen people get engaged there. I've seen people tell someone that they're pregnant for the first time there. Parade day, obviously, bands. For me, actually, a big turning point in my professional career, in my personal life. There was a point in my career where I had left a job that I didn't feel was the right fit for me, and I left on the spot. And I got a reputation around town that was a brave move on my part, and that was cool because it helped my reputation. But actually, it's really because of my wife. I called her upset, and she's like, "Just leave. We'll figure something out." So I'm like, "Oh, okay, what do I do?" So she's like, "I'll meet you at Kitty Hoynes." So I show up at Kitty Hoynes around noon, and two of my future coworkers from Mower were there, and we were having drinks. And then she came over later, and I had a lot of drinks by then. But that kind of presence of being in a place that is obviously important to me is a story that I tell a lot, or I have students ask me about, and Kitty Hoynes is a central crux of that. So there's a lot of favorite memories. I know a friend of mine that she told her parents that she was engaged at a place, and he'd already asked the father to be engaged. But so many different stories that I've seen and witnessed there that have been a part of people's lives. So let me ask you this: what is one of your favorite memories out of all the wonderful things that have happened there? What's one of the favorite ones that always makes you a little teary-eyed or gives you goosebumps?
Yeah, a couple of different things. Number one, I think, we have had quite a lot of staff through here. Obviously, we are in business 21 plus years, but we have had staff that have had difficult times. Obviously the restaurant business is a tough business to be in if you have any addiction whatsoever. So it gets people in trouble, and I think part of our success, and it's not necessarily me, but it's our manager and our managers that watch out for this. And like, we have had people that have gone down to the very bottom, and somewhere else may have kind of thrown them to the curb type of thing. But I think that we kind of saw it as a person that is crying out for help. Can we help them? We give maybe too many chances here. I don't know. But I think in the long run, when you invest your actual time and care for somebody when they're at their lowest, and then you kind of get them back to where they can support themselves, I think then you have a member for life there, and I think, Kitty Hoynes is like that. We all watch out for one another. As I said, we are a family. Our staff is the most important thing that we have, because myself and Cindy, we can't do it, all of it, So I think that really, apart from seeing other, guest different things, but for me, that is the big standout. It's a great family that we have here.
For sure. And that's why families love being there. People feel like they're part of a family when they're there. And I don't know that you can ever be too loving or too caring. Like, you can never tell someone, I think, that you love them too often, or, give them an extra chance. I think that's the mark of a good heart. That made me really happy. Not what I expected to be the answer. So I love that too.
Yep.
Well, speaking of not being expected, then we're going to move into the lightning round. So these are things that you have no preparation for. So I'm going to give you 5 questions. Each question has 2 options. You need to pick one or the other and explain why. So as 2 people that enjoy whiskey, this is a debate that my friends and I have often. There's a joke from a TV show that they reference regularly, which we'll see what your answer is to this. But you have to pick Bushmills or Jameson.
Are we just talking about the regular Bushmills and the regular Jameson?
Yep, just the regular.
Okay, I'm going to go with the regular Jameson because I grew up with that. Back in our pub back home, we rarely had Bushmills for whatever reason. It was always up on the actual top shelf, and so yeah, Jameson for me.
Okay, that's an awesome answer. A lot of people will reference the TV show The Wire. Have you ever seen The Wire?
I have heard of it. Yeah, what was that? Based in Baltimore, was it?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's one of the detectives is quite a big drinker and a whiskey drinker, and he's obsessed with Jameson. So he's at a fundraiser, and he's like, "Yeah, let me get a Jameson's." And the guy's like, "Bushmills," and the detective says, "That's Protestant whiskey," and the bartender says it's free, and he's like, "Pour it up." So,
well, I have a thing also. We were lucky maybe 10, 15 years ago to have the master distiller from Bushmills here. And Colm Egan is his name. He is still at Bushmills, and actually Bushmills 16-year-old is one of my favorites. But he is a Catholic from County Laois in Ireland. So if they can have a Catholic master distiller, I don't think you can necessarily call it a Protestant whiskey. So
yeah, I don't.
Back in the day, there might have been something to it, but
people, older Irish Americans and people that are from Ireland that are older swear by like, oh, it's like, well, my family's Catholic. Well, you shouldn't be drinking Bushmill. I'm like, well, I'm gonna drink it. Yep. But yeah, I love that aspect of it. So something else that we love. One of my favorite things is, depending on whatever time of year, like these two particular things, how well it's decorated and appointed in your place. And in the summer with the cool outdoor, with the green dividers, which are awesome. But Christmas is amazing in your restaurant. But also in the summers during the World Cup is one of my favorite times, is to go to Kitty Hoynes during the World Cup with the cool World Cup pint glasses, drinking. Also, like, I don't normally drink Carlsberg, which they say is probably the best beer in the world, but during the World Cup.
Yep.
So what do you enjoy more in the bar, in the restaurant, Christmas or the World Cup?
Well, World Cup, definitely. World Cup, it's just so much fun. Ireland doesn't necessarily get to it every year or every time, every 4 years, but I consider myself Irish when Ireland are playing soccer and our Ryder Cup golf against the USA. So that's when I'm an Irish fan, and every other time I am a USA fan. But soccer just brings in all of these different cultures, different people. You get to know, chat to them. I mean, it's just a great international feel to it, and there isn't any better place than Kitty Hoynes to watch it.
I could not agree more. And there are other great places to watch it. I mean, Wolves Beer Garden is a great place to watch.
Absolutely.
Football. But at Kitty Hoynes, though, there's a weird energy. Neither other game in a great way. Other games, like one of my friends is American, but his family is Portuguese, and I remember the Portugal game, and like his behavior was different in the bar because it was so awesome.
Yeah, we love our sports for sure.
For sure. Okay, so now you have to pick between this: a drunk, annoying, belligerent customer, or a mean Karen that keeps returning her dinner.
Ooh, boy, I don't know how you pick one of those. Equally not the greatest of choices, but there's ways to handle both of them. I feel, I always like to get the person's name, especially if you have that belligerent drunk, that you want to kind of get on kind of straight up terms here. You want to say, hey, Matt, my name is David. Nice to meet you. So straight away, you kind of bring the whole level of belligerency or whatever you want to call that down. So it's like, okay, this guy is looking for my name. Maybe it's, sticking in there. We always want to make people happy. So, that person returning their food, I suppose, let me go with the second one then, because eventually, hopefully that person sees that, hey, everyone back there and are here is trying to bring me the best that they can. So I'm going to go with the second one.
You're very, I mean, I've seen you handle both of those in person. You're very disarming. That's a great answer to that too, because I just love it. All right. So how about this? It's your first meal of the day. You and I both like to cook, both like to eat. Would you rather start the day with an Irish breakfast or a really great corned beef hash?
Irish breakfast, straight up. It's got everything there. You can even miss lunch with actually having an Irish breakfast. So there's enough in there. Obviously, I grew up with it. I don't eat it very often. So and then corned beef hash. Yeah, I mean, Damien smoked corned beef here. He does it sometimes. It's excellent. But no, Irish breakfast. There's nothing like. I mean, and like a nice cup of coffee with it. You know,
Yeah,
it's got a little bit of salt in there, so maybe around lunchtime you're looking for a pint of Guinness. I don't know.
absolutely. I mean, I make a fantastic corned beef hash that I'm really proud of. But I will say the Irish breakfast at your place too. I was there at one point. It was around lunchtime, and I had it for breakfast. And someone's like, "Oh, that doesn't seem like it's very healthy." I'm like, "There's a grilled tomato on here, so we're
Exactly.
good to
comes with a doctor's appointment.
go." Okay, here's the last question of the lightning round. You have to pick one customer out of these two options. You've just walked out of the kitchen and you see the corner of the bar, either Matt Reed or his wife, Stephanie Crockett. Who do you pick and why?
I gotta pick Stephanie Crockett. Come on, for heaven's sake!
Every time.
All the time, all the time. So, come on, she has a great smile. She's a great personality, and we see you more, so we don't see Stephanie as much. So of course we want to talk to her because she can always tell us stories about you when you're not behaving and different things. So but no, both of you, come on, and it's funny, Matt, that when you do sometimes deal with stuff back in the office, back in the kitchen, that they're, that your air conditioner is down, you have to service a cooler, a customer sent back food, there's something going wrong, but yet, and I think that the place has fallen down, and it's only when you go back out to the bar and you start talking to a customer that it kind of all goes away. It's like, oh okay, this is actually why we're here. It's about our customers. It's about making them happy, and it just like, I just find that it clears my head straight away pretty much when you get to talk to different people. But and nobody better than Stephanie or Matt, for sure.
Well, for her, she's one of those people that I think about. One of, when you have an image of people in your head, people that you know and care about. Sometimes the image of her in my head is her on a sunny day at the bar by the back door, and the sunlight's come in, and her eyes are sparkling that great smile. But it's the Kitty Hoynes experience, I think, that people have and that you provide. So, David, this has been awesome. Is there anything else you want to share with people about the restaurant, about what they can do during COVID? Anything else that you think is important for people to know?
I don't think so. Maybe I would leave it at, that the restaurant industry certainly has suffered during this whole COVID thing, and it's hard to put it into perspective also. But we have lost so many great people because of COVID, and we just all kind of need to unify now, and kind of let's make it as positive as we possibly can, and thank our leadership here with Ben Walsh, Mayor, and Ryan McMahon, County Executive. I mean, they have, just fantastic leadership through this whole thing, through this whole vaccination thing going on now. So it's we need everyone to get behind the city, behind the county, and continue to make this a bright spot in upstate New York, and even wider. And if we all do our bit, well, then it will be a great place again. So
Well,
thank you for having me, and I'm sorry that you are a Chelsea fan. That is coming from a Manchester United fan.
Yeah, from a sports teams, I'm a Jets fan, I'm a Chelsea fan, I'm a Mets fan, so things don't ever seem to work out. But one thing that's worked out for this area is you coming to it. And you mentioned the mayor and the county executive. They are great leaders for our community, but so are you. So to people that are watching, spend time at Kitty Hoynes, support the local restaurant community. But this is a great man, a great family, and a great place. So Spatchcock Nation Hot Joints, we're out.